After the seventh performance of the 300 plays, Qin Zhenyan softly said to Qiu who was turned away from him, "My dear, I need to go to Yunlin Mountain to find my master." Upon hearing this, Qiu felt a wave of bitterness in her heart and coldly replied without further engaging with Qin Zhenyan. "My dear, I'm leaving now. You should rest," Qin Zhenyan said, leaning closer and softly whispering in her ear. Qiu's heart raced, her body weakened, and she closed her eyes, too afraid to move. It wasn't until Qin Zhenyan got out of bed and left the room that she opened her eyes, a look of bewilderment on her round little face. "Why have I become so strange?" After half an instant's stick, Yulin Mountain. "Master, I have arrived." Qin Zhenyan respectfully saluted the tall red figure. However, today the master seemed in a bad mood, saying nothing, simply shedding his robes and casting a seductive glance. Before Qin Zhenyan could say a word, he was instantly captivated. When Liaoshi dragged his weary body back to Jeyu Alley, Qiu was lying on the bed, breathing evenly and seemingly in deep sleep. Qin Zhenyan quietly approached the bed, looking down at his wife's delicate sleeping face, feeling a bit guilty. Although he was doing it to improve his cultivation, spending every day like this with his master was ultimately not quite appropriate. He should be honest with his wife. Determined, Qin Zhenyan laid down to practice both during the day and overnight. After refining pills, night quickly fell again. After the first 300 performances, Qiu turned her back with a cold face. Qin Zhenyan suddenly said to her, "Wife, there's something I want to tell you." Qiu remained silent, and Qin Zhenyan continued, "Wife, in these past few days my master has been teaching me how to resist charm techniques, but some parts of the teaching are a bit difficult to speak about." Qiu River turned around, her clear beliefs gazing steadily at him. "It's hard to speak up." Qin Zhenyan said, "The master said there is no antidote to charm magic. Only through continuous experience can one enhance endurance and suitability. The master casts charm magic on me every day. He will take off his outer garment in front of me. My lady, don't worry, my master is wearing clothes underneath, and our relationship is pure. We haven't done anything." The River of Autumn fell silent for a moment, then suddenly asked, "Why did you tell me?" Qin Zhenyan replied earnestly, "You are my wife, so I naturally have to tell you. A few days ago I was afraid you would be angry, which is why I didn't tell you right away, wife. I was wrong." Qiu gently bites her lip. For some reason, after Qin Zhenyan was so honest with him, the anger in his heart suddenly dissipated by more than half. "Come here," he whispered to Qin Zhenyan, and she quickly moved closer to him. "My dear, you." Before the words could finish, a soft and fragrant body had already nestled into his embrace, delicate hands reaching out to wrap around his waist. "You mustn't hide anything from me in the future." Madame's voice was no longer cold, but carried a hint of fragility. Qin Zhenyan felt an overwhelming tenderness in his heart as he tightly embraced her delicate figure, speaking softly. "I promise you, my wife, I will tell you everything from now on." Char. Qin Zhenyan only felt the body in his arms completely soften, and even the voice became delicate, a side of his wife he had never seen before. Qin Zhenyan felt a surge of emotions as he lowered his head to find her rosy, cherry-like lips. He closed her eyes, wrapping her arms around Qin Zhenyan's neck like a tender, affectionate wife. "Okay, sure." In an instant, the bedroom was filled with the warmth and bloom of spring. After the seventh performance of the 300 plays, Qin Zhenyan embraced Qiu from behind as she gently leaned into his arms, both silently feeling each other's warmth, the tranquility after passion particularly touching. "Do you like your master?" "Uncle, what is the Autumn River asking?" Qin Zhenyan was taken aback for a moment, lowering his head to meet his wife's gaze. Though filled with tenderness, It also conceals hidden dangers." He quickly replied, "I only feel gratitude towards my master, and have no ulterior motives." Kyujai stared at him intently, as if assessing whether he was lying. After a long time, a faint smile suddenly appeared on that cool little round face, and her soft, beautiful body gently shifted closer to him. "I trust your husband." Yunling Mountain. "Master, your disciple has arrived." Qin Zhengyan greeted his master with a bow, his face beaming with joy. Xia Qinglian coldly looked at him, wondering what was making him so happy. Qin Zhengyan looked up and smiled. "My wife has taken the initiative to change my husband today." Xia Qinglian's voice was cold. "Do not mention such trivial matters in front of me again." "Yes, yes." Qin Zhengyan quickly agreed, carefully observing his master's eyes, and asked softly, "Master, you seem unhappy today. I haven't tested you in a while. Let's see if you can bring something." Clack, clack, clack. Master, what has happened to you?" "Stop talking nonsense. Here comes my move." At the hour of the rabbit, when Qin Zhengyan stepped through the door with the first light of dawn, Kyujit was already awake, quietly sitting at the table in the outer room, watching him enter. "My dear, why are you up so early?" Qin Zhengyan was a bit surprised and stepped forward with concern. "You were so tired last night. Why didn't you sleep a little longer?" After all, he is now a person who can handle 300 xis at once, and each time afterward Kyujit needs to take a moment to recover, gradually feeling a bit overwhelmed by the struggle. Qin Zhengyan naturally felt sorry for his wife, reluctant to let her get up so early and tire herself. Kyujit blushed and didn't respond, looking at him with slightly jealous brows. "Are you hurt?" Qin Zhengyan looked down at his tattered clothes, and numerous wounds scratched his cheek, and laughed heartily. "Today my master tested my skills a bit intensely, but don't worry, my dear, I'm fine." However, Kyujit got up and walked to the kitchen, entered the room, and lay down comfortably. Qin Zhengyan let out a groan and walked into the bedroom, lying down. Soon he entered with a bowl of medicinal liquid, apparently having prepared the healing medicine for him in advance. "My dear, are you up so early just to help me brew the medicine?" Qin Zhengyan got up, feeling a bit moved. As the autumn river flowed gently, he lay down and took off his clothes. "All right. This isn't the first time I've taken off my clothes for my wife to apply medicine on me." Qin Zhengyan skillfully stripped down to just his shorts. Lying on the bed with a strong body, smiling as I looked at the autumn river, Kyujit couldn't stand his gaze and coldly said, "Don't look at me." "Oh." Qin Zhengyan smiled and turned his head away, still carrying a hint of a smile on his face. Every night, when he practiced with Kyujai, the candles were extinguished. With the arrival of autumn, the river seems to have stirred, and the bedroom is always very dark. The two people had never clearly seen each other's bodies during their training. Only when applying medicine to him, Kyujit could clearly see Qin Zhengyan's body. So, shyness is also inevitable. Now, Qin Zhengyan has figured out the river of autumn. My wife seems indifferent, but her heart is soft and she is thin-skinned. And it's obvious they have no experience in love. Even a rookie like me can make him so moved with just a few cheesy pick-up lines. It can be said that the lady embodies the perfect combination of beauty, virtue, and charm. What are you laughing at?" Just as Qin Zhengyan was thinking, that slightly cold soft little hand had already touched him. Seeing the corners of his mouth crack open, Kyujai he asked angrily and shyly, "I am so happy." Qin Zhengyan laughed. "Are you really happy after being beaten like this?" Kyujit's voice was icy. "I am happy because I have the best wife in the whole world." Qin Zhengyan has become quite thick-skinned now, sweet words flowing easily from his lips, but then he felt the small hand applying something on him come to a halt. Kin Genyan turned around and saw two red clouds rising on Kiaji River's cheeks, resembling two ripe little apples. The cold beauty is gone, but the cuteness is even more pronounced. King Genyan got up and kissed the side of Kyuji's face. "What are you doing?" Ah, the River of Autumn trembled slightly with a pair of cold apricot eyes, and her fair neck began to turn red. "My wife is both beautiful and adorable. I simply can't resist." King Genyan smiled and said, "Oh," as an exaggerated gagging sound came from outside the door. The two turned their heads to see Liu Su poking out a little head, grinning broadly. "Miss, don't you feel disgusted?" The good atmosphere was ruined by this guy, and Kin Genyan shook his head in annoyance. "Suzu, I don't remember you having a habit of running a business." Liu Su urged him, "HMPH, I'm doing very well. I don't need a company." "Miss," he walked in while bantering with Kin Genyan, sizing him up. "Wow, who got beaten up like this?" "It feels great." Kieti, he glanced at him. Liu Su smiled as she stepped forward, linking arms with Kyuje. "Miss, I've seen this guy dozens of times all over. Don't worry, I'm already tired of looking at him. What he said is not wrong. He and Kin Genyan are spiritually and physically connected, and during their cultivation, their consciousness and even souls automatically merge, allowing them to see through each other completely. Now, Kin Genyan looks like this, and in his eyes there's really nothing unusual." Kyuji paused and said to Liu Su, "Then help me apply the medicine." "Sure, sure." Liu Su smiled slyly and immediately agreed, his hands smeared with the medicine as he approached Kin Genyan. Ah, Kin Genyan let out a tragic scream, and Kyuji frowned as he looked at Liu Su. "Take it easy." Liu Su pouted. "This guy is just acting pitiful in front of you." "Miss, don't be fooled. That's what they say," but she eased her grip. In the spacious bedroom, a modest man in just a pair of shorts sprawled out on the bed. Two beautiful women sit by the bed, their delicate little hands gently kneading his body. The lively and spirited girl occasionally let out exclamations. "Tisk, tisk, tisk," hitting so hard, "the bones here are about to break. Son-in-law, you've run into an enemy." Kyuji's expression grew colder. "Why is your master so ruthless?" Kin Genyan quickly explained, "My master is strict with me for my own good. If it weren't for my master's guidance, I would have likely been bullied by Changchenzi. My lady, please do not blame the master." The River of Autumn snorted. "If that's how you feel about your master, then go with him, and don't come back." After saying that, she angrily got up and left the bedroom, and Liu Su's eyes instantly sparkled. The wounds on this guy were caused by his master, and it seems the young lady is jealous of his master. So this guy's master is a woman, and she's not bad looking either. Wow, what a big melon. Hey, who is this guy's master anyway? Kyuji was angry outside for a while, but ultimately worried about Kin Genyan's injury, so he returned with a cold expression. After applying the medicine to Kin Genyan, he also used spiritual energy to activate its effects. After doing all this, I entered the kitchen and quickly served the aromatic kuntubao meat soup. There are also steamed longevity eggs, medicinal porridge, and so on, all of which are highly nourishing. Wow, breakfast is so lavish this morning. Liu Su's saliva was dripping, about to dig in, when Kyuji casually poured. "It's not advisable to eat something so greasy in the morning. It affects your cultivation." Then a bowl of hearty meat soup was placed in front of Kin Genyan. They pushed the steamed longevity, egg, and medicinal porridge in front of him. "Eat a bit more." Liu Su opened her eyes wide. "Miss, didn't you say that eating these in the morning affects cultivation?" "The River of Autumn. He is not like you. He has been hurt." Liu Su pointed at his nose and asked, "Then what should I eat?" "The autumn river flows calmly. You handle it yourself." Liu Su, 10 days later, late at night, Yunlin Mountain, hissing sounds. Under the snowy moon, two figures spat out their gourds, colliding fiercely and producing a hissing sound. After an entire incense stick's time, the two figures finally came to a stop. The tall, voluptuous red figure appeared calm, her voice icy. "Your dragon spirit fruit. The dragon spirit technique is about to reach the 3rd level. The dragon spirit technique has a total of 9 levels, reaching the highest level. The body is as indestructible as a golden dragon, impervious to all poisons. But it also requires matching cultivation, like Kinjingyan, a Kai refining practitioner. The 3rd level is already the limit. To ascend to the next level, one must reach the foundational stage of cultivation. In just half a month, Qin Zhengyan has already fully mastered the dragon spirit technique of Kai training. When encountering a cultivator of equal skill, if no magical artifacts are used, it's hard to break through his defenses. At that moment, he was filled with joy, bowing in prayer to his master. "It is still the daily emotional teachings from my master that have allowed me to make this progress." Zaya Kinglian snorted coldly. "You heal really quickly every day. Someone is healing your wounds right." Qin Jingyan couldn't hide the smile on his face. "It is my wife. Every day after I finish my training and return home, the lady has already prepared the medicine and is waiting for me. You found a good wife." Zaya Kinglian's cold voice suddenly turned charming and seductive. "Look up and see how does your teacher compare to your wife." Qin Zhengyan instinctively looked up. However, I saw that the master had already taken off the red outer robe, revealed a large expanse of pure white inside. Although such a scene can be seen every night, but because this scene is too stunningly beautiful, Qin Zhengyan finds it hard to control himself every time he looks. Soon it fell into the enchantment of the master. At the hour of the rabbit, Qin Zhengyan returned home with light steps. Today, Qiuji did not wake up early to brew medicine, but sleeping in bed. "I guess waking up early every day these past few days has made me a bit tired." Today, Qin Zhengyan has achieved success in his cultivation method. "There's no need for any ointment. I didn't get hurt much." He quietly walked to the bedside, looking down at his sleeping wife. Smiling, she stepped out of the bedroom. Entering the kitchen, I start preparing breakfast. "Wife, you've worked hard. Today, let me cook for you." In the morning, Kiaji, he and Liu Su both woke up. Seeing that Qin Zhengyan had already set breakfast on the table, Liu Su exclaimed in surprise, "Son-in-law, are you out of your mind making us breakfast?" Qin Zhengyan ignored him and served a bowl of porridge to Qiuji. "You give it a try." Qiuji sat down, lowered his head, and took a sip, nodding slightly. "Delicious," Qin Zhengyan said happily. "Then you should eat a bit more." Liu Su served herself a bowl, took a sip, and frowned. "This tastes so bad, where's the good food?" Qin Zhengyan took a sip himself and suddenly felt awkward. The rice wasn't rinsed properly, and it wasn't cooked soft. "It tastes a bit astringent, yet this woman actually says it's delicious." Qin Zhengyan looked at Qiuji in astonishment. Liu Su shook his head. "Miss, you spoil this guy too much. It tastes so bad, yet you still praise him." Qiuji raised a hand to brush aside the strands of hair by her ear, looking down coldly. "I just think it's delicious, and then I continued to lower my head and drink the porridge." Liu Su rolled her eyes. "It's over. My family, Saintess, is completely trapped. My lady," somewhat moved, "can't hold back." Zhu Shen held Qiuji's small hand under the table. Kyuji glanced at Liu Su beside him. While drinking porridge, I was being held by my little hand under the table by Qin Zhengyun. Her face still maintained a cold demeanor. Liu Su asked strangely, "Miss, why is your face so red from drinking the congee?" Kyuji shot him a glance, changed the subject, and said to Qin Zhengyun, "How is your cultivation practice going?" Qin Zhengyun laughed heartily, having made some progress in the defensive martial arts technique passed down by his master. "Can my current adversary really hurt me?" The master said that one must not reveal the names of the techniques he teaches. Liu Su scoffed, boasting, "What kind of skill is that powerful?" When it comes to defensive techniques, he only acknowledges the dragon spirit technique of his own Kinglian sect. Other turtle shell techniques do not catch his eye. Qin Zhengyun, eager to practice his skills outside the city, said to Liu Su, "How about we go out and practice?" He is connected to Liu Su Ling, knowing that Liu Su has just reached the 7th level of Kai refinement. He was just at a comparable level, making him a good practice opponent. "Sure, who's afraid of you?" Liu Su immediately stood up and said to Kyuji, "Miss, please join us and be our witness, so that this guy won't deny it if he loses." As Kyuji was about to refuse, Qin Zhengyun gently squeezed his hand under the table. "My lady, let's go together. Take a look at the results of my hard work these days." Seeing his excited and happy expression, Kyuji's words of rejection soon changed. After a stick of incense, Yunlin Mountain, Qin Zhengyun and Liu Su stood facing each other, simultaneously releasing their 7th layer of spiritual energy. "Son-in-law, I'm here. Be careful." Liu Su smiled mischievously and darted away, appeared beside Qin Zhengyun like a ghostly figure. So fast, Qin Zhengyun's pupils constricted. It was the first time he saw Liu Su make a move, and he didn't expect her to be so fast. Among all the people he has seen, except for his master, no one could keep up with Liu Su's speed. It seems my sister-in-law is also on the path of physical cultivation. Indeed, Liu Su did not use any weapons. The slender figure twisted in mid-air. Long legs transformed into long whips. With a swift kick, it flew towards Qin Zhengyun's cheek. This light attracts lightning. The tips of the toes glimmered with a faint green light. Clearly, it is an extremely powerful physical cultivation technique. Qin Zhengyun awkwardly waved his hand to block. With a bang, he was kicked back 2 steps. "Oh, is that all?" Liu Su curled his legs up and proudly lifted his small head. He belonged to the group that got beaten at Kinglian Gate. At this moment, confidence was found in Qin Zhengyun. It feels great. However, in the next moment, Qin Zhengyun put down his hands. Her expression was very calm. Liu Su squinted his eyes. "I can't believe you're okay." He just used a powerful leg technique from the Kinglian sect. Even if the opponent of the fellow practitioner is blocked, they might also suffer minor injuries. But at this moment, Qin Zhengyun actually seemed completely unfazed. Liu Su's expression was starting to falter. With a sharp rebuke, perched above, then Yan Chen's legs transformed into fleeting shadows. Like a whirlwind, they attacked Qin Zhengyun. Clap, clap, clap. In an instant, a fierce sound of collision erupted. Qin Zhengyun did not retreat an inch. Hands continuously blocking. It seems quite easy. Liu Su gradually began to gasp for breath. The force weakened. Qin Zhengyun simply stopped blocking. Let Liu Su's legs kick him. It made a thumping sound, but it couldn't harm him at all. "No more fighting, no more fighting. I'm exhausted." Liu Su stopped, panting continuously. His talent for cultivation is very high, but because I was too lazy, belonging to cultivation, After a while, my stamina just isn't up to par, unless using the dragon scale eyes, otherwise you can't hurt him. The autumn river flows gently beside. Liu Su bent down, panting, with a quick glance, suddenly, towards the autumn riverway. Miss, I've never seen you take action before. Why don't you practice with your husband? My wife practices with me. Qin Zhengyan straightened upon hearing this. Turning to look at Kiari River, curiosity and desire appeared in his eyes. It's true. He and his wife have been married for quite a while now, living together day and night. I have never seen my wife in action before. If I could spar with my wife for a while, it can also be considered a form of charm. Liu Su secretly smirked. Just now, when he fought with Qin Zhengyan, discovering this guy's turtle shell technique, it resembles the dragon spirit palace of the Youth Gate. Back at the Youth Gate, he asked the sect leader to pass this technique to him. The sect leader said that those who practice in Longling Palace, Zhu's character is steady and reliable. Liu Su's temperament, not suitable for practicing this technique. Liu Su felt helpless, just have to give up. Once, Liu Su practiced with a senior brother who had trained at Longling Palace. Breathless from the fight, but cannot harm the other even a little, immediately made Liu Su envious beyond measure. Standing still like this, a technique that can exhaust the opponent to death, I also want to learn. I didn't expect that. Now, it's on a guy at the 7th level of Kai training. Once again, I felt that sense of helplessness and envy from back then. But how did this guy end up in the Dragon Spirit Palace? Is it possible that... Who is his master? Liu Su looked towards Qiuzhai He. A dark smile crossed my mind. If this guy from the Holy Maiden sect is really from the Dragon Spirit Palace, that would be interesting. On the bed is my wife. Under the bed is the master. Well, this is too much like playing pub. You should go back to your training. However, the River of Autumn does not respond. He said softly, just about to leave. My lady, Qin Zhengyan called out to him, smiled and said, I have always been curious about my wife's cultivation. Let's give it a try. The River of Autumn turns back, looking into his eager eyes, soft-hearted, finally nodded. All right. Great. Qin Zhengyan was excited. With a bow to the River of Morning Autumn. My lady. Please. Good grandfather. Liu Su was so excited that he almost jumped up. The Saintess has not yet regained her powers, but dealing with this guy is enough. Moreover, the Saintess is knowledgeable about all the techniques of the young men. Nature also knows the weakness of Longling Palace. If the Saintess takes action, he broke that guy's turtle shell. That means my suspicions were mostly correct. Qin Zhengyan trained at the Dragon Spirit Palace, and it was the Saintess who taught him the technique. The wife and the master. What an exciting game! Liu Su was excited. The River of Autumn has made its move. A white shadow flashed. He had already struck Qin Zhengyan's chest with a palm. Just at the moment of impact, the Autumn River flows quietly, gathering strength. This strike only pushed Qin Zhengyan back a step. It didn't cause any harm. Qin Zhengyan looked at Qiuzhai in surprise. Wife, are you also at the 7th layer of Kai training? The spiritual power displayed by Qiuzhai he just now. It is indeed the 7th layer of Kai training. Be careful. The River of Autumn gently whispered. Continue to attack Qin Zhengyan. He wore a floral skirt. In a flash of movement, Yan Mai floated gracefully. The skirt swirled. Long hair dances gently in the wind, in the snow-covered woods. If a pure white fairy, dancing gracefully. In this moment and scene, magnificent. As for every strike he delivered, it seems to be mingled with thunder and lightning. In reality, there was no strength at all. It was as if a woman was dancing with King Qin. Liu Su couldn't bear to look. This is not practice. It's clearly a fistful of affection. Sighed, once a woman softens her heart, indeed, nothing can be endured any more. Qin Zhenyan had little experience in combat. I didn't realize that my wife was secretly accommodating me. The more they fight, the more excited they become. Start the counterattack. Jin Zaya Quan, Dai La Sha, Golden Python Divine Fist. 3 types of techniques were used in succession. Unlike when practicing with my master, the lady and I have an understanding that is just right. Make every move count to the fullest. Unlike when master was resting, every time it's just being passively beaten. So this is how exhilarating it feels to spar with my wife. Qin Zhenyan became excited. The offensive surged like a tide. The sound of constant collisions echoed through the snowy moon forest. However, Qin Zhenyan quickly realized something was wrong. Although my wife let me enjoy myself thoroughly, but his offensive seemed to pose no threat to his wife. The excitement in his heart quickly faded. The master's cultivation level is clearly much higher than mine. It's understandable that you can't win. But the lady is clearly at the same cultivation level of Kai training, 7th layer, as myself. Why do I feel just as powerless? This world of cultivation truly has geniuses everywhere. I am indeed too far off. Qin Zhenyan felt a bit frustrated. The offensive has weakened even more. Qiu Zhai, he sensed his abnormality. She guessed what was on his mind. This is actually very normal. Every practitioner has come through countless setbacks. Just seeing Qin Zhenyan's dejected and disappointed expression, the heart of Qiaji River softened once again. At this moment, Qin Zhenyan launched a golden cloud fist attack. Qiuji paused. It seemed like there was no way to dodge. He was hit on the shoulder by his punch. The petite figure was sent flying. He fell heavily to the ground. In an instant, in the snowy moon forest, all was quiet. My lady, Miss Qin Zhenyan and Liu Su rushed to the front of the autumn river at the same time. The river of autumn has already stood up, gently nodding. I'm fine. Yuan. Miss, what are you doing? You can definitely do it. Kyuji glared at him and said, I told you I'm fine. He looked again at the worried Qin Zhenyan. Among cultivators of the same level, you are already very strong. Don't lose your mood. Qin Zhenyan said with concern, My lady, are you really okay? All right. It's time to go back. Kyuji turned and walked down the mountain. Turning away from the 2 people, he frowned slightly. The color of pain flashed and disappeared. Just now, he reduced his cultivation to the 6th layer of Kai refinement. The spiritual power used for defense has been completely withdrawn. He met Qin Zhenyan's fully powered punch with his body. This way, Qin Zhenyan broke through his own defenses. But this also resulted in a serious injury to his shoulder. Uncle and nephew. Hasty footsteps echoed behind. The river of autumn turns back. There was no time to speak. The body has already taken to the air. He was momentarily stunned. Only then did I realize I was already lying in Qin Zhenyan's arms. His hands supported his back and bent legs. She gently spoke to him while looking down. My lady, you are hurt. I'll carry you back. Give. Qiu Zhai, he stared blankly at him. My heart couldn't stop pounding. This is during the day. How could he do this? Qin Zhenyan said again, My lady, hold me a little tighter. Don't fall down. Qiu Zhai's mind was blank. Subconsciously stretching out both hands, He wrapped his arms around his neck. "Let's go." Qin Zhengyun lowered his head and said softly, "I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. The sunlight born in the early morning is a bit dazzling." Qiu Zhai, he buried her head in his arms. "Life is like a pattern." Qin Zhengyun's figure moved. "They have already rushed down the mountain." Liu Su opened her eyes wide, staring blankly at the two figures walking away. Oh my! The Saintess was unexpectedly princess carried by someone, still not resisting at all. "This is our cold-blooded Saintess of the Kinglian sect. Qin Zhengyun, you heart thief! What has happened to my family's Saintess? Hello, wait for me, everyone." After half a stick of incense, Qin Zhengyun carried Qishi back home. "You put me down, please." Along the way, Qiuji hid her face in Qin Zhengyun's chest. Fortunately, it is still morning. There are many pedestrians on the road. Finally, it did not attract too much attention. At this moment, returning home, the river of autumn has finally calmed down a bit. The voice returned to its cold clarity. Qin Zhengyun carried her into the bedroom, gently placed her on the bed. "My lady, don't move. Wait for me." After saying that, he hurriedly left. If it were in the past, Qiu Zhai, he would not care about her at all. At this moment, she seemed enchanted. She said, she lay obediently on the bed, not moving. Before long, Qin Zhen walked in with a bowl of medicinal liquid. "My lady, take off your clothes. I'll apply the medicine for you." In recent days, Qin Zhengyun returned from training with his master every day. Qiaji River will apply medicine for her. So there were always medicinal herbs in the kitchen. Qin Zhengyun is a Dan master. Making herbal medicine is not difficult for her. Just now, it was the herbs prepared by my wife. Soon, a bowl of medicinal liquid was prepared. The wound of the river of autumn is on the left shoulder. I need to apply the medicine. Naturally, one must shed their outer garment. He asked his wife to take off her clothes. This statement is made with great confidence, not showing the slightest hint. Take the opportunity to appreciate the filthy thoughts of the lady's bloodstains during the day. Why not take it off on the round little face of Qiu Zhai, a rosy blush rose? Turn your head away. In a low voice, "It is daytime now." Qin Zhengyun smiled and said, "I am your husband. I've seen it before." The Autumn River uncle and nephew turned their heads. He looked at her coldly. Qin Zhengyun rubbed his nose, knowing that Qiuji is thin-skinned. Let him loosen his clothes during the day, even in front of him. I'm afraid it's not easy to accept. This actually also shows that the lady has not yet completely fallen for him. The first bloom of spring just opened a small gap. The road ahead is still long and winding. We must keep striving. Let my wife completely lower her guard. There is no barrier with oneself. Qin Zhengyun sat by the bedside. She said softly, "My lady, I was wrong just now, encountering a setback, feeling frustrated. You also need to lower your cultivation level. A book comes to maintain my self-esteem. I am still too weak." No. Qiu Zhai, he was about to speak. Qin Zhengyun held his little hand. "Continue the story." "My lady, I was born at the bottom. You haven't seen the scenery from high up. Each step upward is a struggle. Talent, my vision is still far from enough. But now that I have you, I cannot give up easily. I will definitely keep climbing upward until I reach the height that can protect you. It's just that now there is so little I can do for you." Stop talking. The river of autumn opens its mouth, slowly raising his hand, unbuttoned the buttons on her floral dress one by one. Soon, snow-white skin revealed before Kin Jengyan's eyes. The river's surface in autumn reflects a red tide. Pull beside the garment covering the left shoulder. On those delicate, jade-like shoulders, there is a swollen red area. Kin Jengyan saw his wife's skin so clearly for the first time. Breathing lightly in sync, as Kyujin's chest rose and fell, he whispered, "My lady, you should relax a bit. It will be ready soon. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that." The river of autumn closes its eyes. The long eyelashes tremble slightly. Kin Jengyan applied medicine to his hand, gently brushed on the shoulder of the river of autumn. Q's river sleeves have slightly thick eyebrows. He hurriedly said, "Dreams have hurt you." The river of autumn still keeps its eyes closed, shaking his head. At this moment his heart was pounding fiercely. I didn't dare to open my eyes at all. Look at King Jengyan's face. Is this woman really a saint? Liu Su leaned against the door. The eyes were wide open. No way to describe the shy and weak Kiaji lying in bed, merged with the cold, saintly figure of that couch from my memory. Men indeed affect the speed of drawing a sword. From now on I will definitely not date men. The wound on Q's shoulder isn't large. Kin Jengyan quickly applied the medicine for him. He whispered and asked, "Wife, are you feeling better? You hurry up and go outside." "Go out." He tightly closed her eyes. The voice is frantic. Kin Jengyan smiled. "Then I'll go out. You take a break first." After speaking, he walked out of the bedroom. Liu Su dashed back to the neighboring alchemy room. Kin Jengyan didn't mind either. Entered the kitchen. Liu Su immediately rushed out of the alchemy room, ran into the bedroom. Jian Qiu is getting dressed. He approached with a cheerful smile. "Miss, your face is so red. I am sick." He coldly stared at him. Liu Su smiled slyly, in a low voice. Zaya smiled. "Miss, you're anxious again. I am worried that I might hurt your husband. Still afraid he knows that master is actually his wife?" Miss, what do you say?" "Just go ahead and do it." "Son-in-law, help. The lady wants to do me." A few days later, Kin Jengyan's dragon scale palace has reached the peak of the 3rd level. Ultimately, there has been some achievement, but resisting the charm still made no progress. Every night after training with my master, when the master took off his clothes, he immediately became confused. On this day, at the hour of the rabbit, King Jengyan returned home, sitting by the bed but not going to sleep. Some more frown. The river of autumn turned over, sitting up with the blanket wrapped around me, quietly watching him. "Did I wake you?" "My lady." Kin Jengyan apologized. He shook her head. She lifted her head and brushed back the loose strands of hair by her ear. The voice is cheerful. "Your training with your master is not going smoothly." There was some resentment in those words. He naturally knows. Kin Jengyan's cultivation with his master went smoothly, and it becomes increasingly smooth. The master and apprentice grew increasingly in sync. In the midst of time passing, flirting with glances, physical contact, it felt just like dancing. "What else are you dissatisfied with?" "HMPH." Then they heard Kin Jeng say, "My lady, I still can't resist the charm of my master. I worry that one day I might really encounter a master of charm magic. I'm afraid I won't know how I died." The river of autumn fell silent for a moment, suddenly asked, "Your master truly is like this. Are you fascinated?" King Jengyan was taken aback, quickly explained, "My lady, you misunderstood. I only have respect for my master, absolutely not what he thinks." The river of autumn dons its attire, got out of bed, Leaving the bedroom. My lady, where are you going? Buying groceries. Kyujai, he replied softly, quickly left the house. Today, Qin Zhengyan will return a bit later. At this moment, the sky had just begun to brighten. There are already a few pedestrians in the alley. Kyujai walked to the alley with a vegetable basket. A door creaked open. Chanfang stepped out, seeing the river of autumn approach joyfully and take his arm. Jai, are you also going to buy groceries? Let's go together. Kyujai went to buy vegetables in the morning. I often run into Chen Fang. The two grew increasingly close. Chung Fang has already regarded Kyujai he as her close friend. She often shares some amusing stories about herself and her husband with Kyujai he. It also introduced a few familiar female cultivators to Kyujai he. Kyujai gradually got used to being treated so intimately by Chen Fang. At that moment, she let him lead her towards the vegetable market in Qingluo Alley. On the way, I ran into a few female cultivators familiar with Chen Fang. Together on the journey, these women are all married now. The topics of conversation are quite bold. One of the female disciples said excitedly, I heard that the Rouge Pavilion has received a new batch of clothing repairs. The jacket hung half down, half in the air. The legs are adorned with black sheer stockings. The design is quite innovative. Fang Dao from Qingluo Alley bought a set to take home. Her husband, who was infatuated with the courtesan, never visited the Red Mansion again. When the other female cultivators heard this, suddenly his eyes lit up. It's truly magical. I went to buy a set. My husband has been saying lately that he wants to take a concubine. I must make him give up this thought. I will also go buy a set. My family member has been rushing through things these days. It seems to lack freshness. In a while, the married female practitioners giggled. The more they talked, the more excited they became. The river of autumn grew increasingly silent. Yantai, Chen family, Chen family. Chen family stands at the door. It was only after being called a few times by another shopkeeper that I regained my senses. He quickly replied in a loud voice, Shopkeeper, what are your orders? The wealthy shopkeeper snorted. Your performance has declined significantly these days. Often distracted while on duty. What happened? The Chen family hurried over. Feng Yangwei, I've been feeling a bit unwell lately. Don't worry. I will be able to adjust soon. It's for the best. The plump shopkeeper nodded, implying something directly. We scattered practitioners must remember not to aim too high. Don't let unrealistic fantasies cloud your judgment. The shopkeeper said. Chen family bowed and clasped their hands. My heart feels increasingly exhausted. These days, he has indeed been somewhat distracted, because that kin friend hasn't visited the Rouge Pavilion for a long time. He even left his address for the other party. Qin Dayu hasn't come to find him either. The Chen family has always prided themselves on their beauty. That's why a substantial betrothal gift was proposed during the matchmaking. Upon discovering that Qin Zhengyan is a hidden great cultivator, even broke off the engagement with Yang Fengshen. The Chen family feels that, with one's own appearance and figure, Qin Zhengyan would eventually be in his grasp. I never expected that my repeated hints would. Even expressing a willingness to be a concubine, the other party remained unmoved. Now, Yang Fengshen has been missing for many days. Qin Zhengyan also ignored himself. Losing sesame seeds often means losing a watermelon as well. I wonder what kind of celestial being Qin Zhengyan's wife really is. It made him so devoted. Chen Jiashan was secretly annoyed. A female cultivator walked into the hall. She approached with a charming smile. This guest, what do you need? I can give it to you. In the next moment, Chen's family was stunned. There is such a beautiful woman in the world. The female cultivator appeared petite and delicate. Her face is pale and round. Zing Mao Ging Qian Bai Yang Chun. Ming has a doll-like face, yet mature and stunning, purity and charm. So perfectly focused on one person, her figure was curvaceous. Fine branches bear rich fruits. Cannot distinguish one room. Up and down trembling, even though we are both women. Also looking rule-worthy. Dizzying mystery. The beauty of the nation. The moon blushes at the flowers. The beauty that captivates both fish and birds. Chen's mind couldn't help but bubble up with various words. For the first time in front of another woman, born with a self-destructive heart, Kyuje had long been accustomed to it. The way others looked at her expression. I didn't pay much attention. Said lightly, "I bought a tailor's service." The female guests nearby whispered. Everyone looked at her in surprise. The Chen family was also taken aback, quickly led her towards the intoxicated Yan Jiaiji. This is the new tailoring service at our store." Kyuje looked at the set of clothes on the wall. That delicate little face instantly flushed with a layer of rosy red. He finally understood why this type of clothing is called repair clothes. The top is made of a small piece of black fabric. The effect is less than that of taking off clothes. Moreover, there are many small holes on it. Next, there is a pair of pants being taken off. There are also 2 long pieces of black fabric, extremely thin, radical transparency. The upper body of this garment is made of lace fabric. Here are the latest style of long socks. Worn on the legs, it adds more charm. It is made of black thread. This is therefore called black silk. If you wear it, take good care of your husband for this lifetime. You are the only one in my heart." The Chen family warmly introduced themselves. The River of Autumn asks, "How do you know I have a husband?" Chen Jaya smiled and said, "Knew why you hurriedly adjusted her appearance. Come here to buy tailoring services. It's not natural. Wear it for yourself." The Autumn River gently bites the pink eagle's lips. Feeling a bit embarrassed and annoyed. No wonder he said earlier that he wanted to buy clothes for mending. The gaze of those female cultivators was so strange. After a moment, he said coldly, "Bought it." Quickly paid for the snacks. Yeti he carried a bag of clothes for repair, leaving the Rouge Pavilion. "Take care, guest. Welcome to come again next time." The Chen family sent him to the door. Looking at that delicate, bald figure, I can't help but want to go in. A woman of unparalleled beauty. I still need to buy some tailoring. Please the husband. I can't seem to find a satisfactory reason for my appearance. What is there to be upset about? Evening, under the house, Qin Zhengyan and Liu Su finished practicing alchemy. Back in the bedroom, thinking to myself, the large order of elixirs from Danfu Tower for the inner sect of Yin Yang. There are 7 soul rebirth pills and 8 shattered jade fury pills left. In another half a month, then you can complete all of it. I estimate that before then, one's own alchemical realm can reach the 4th level. Later, go to Danfu Building and ask Manager Tong, "Is it possible to buy the recipe for the ice heart rejuvenation pill?" Just thinking. Looking up, I see Kyujik quietly sitting at the bedside. He smiled and said, "My lady, you have waited long. Let's practice." It was always like this in the past. After he finishes refining the elixir, Mayan practiced alongside his wife. During training, my lady does not shy away from the light. Qin Zhengyi unconsciously raised his hand to extinguish the candle. "Wait a moment." Kyuje spoke up to stop them. Qin Zhengyan was confused. My lady, what happened? Qiu Zhai, he bit his lip, as if having made a firm decision, finally stood up, unbuttoned the clothes. The white dress draped over her body slipped down. Show the sewing inside. Qin Zhengyan suddenly froze. Staring blankly at the autumn river, the eyeballs seemed to be frozen in place, without moving, feeling his gaze so hot it almost burned. The body of Qiu Zhai, he trembled slightly in shame. This is still the first time he is in front of a male cultivator, wearing such shameless clothes. He was at a loss, unsure where to hide. In the end, I could only stand there blankly. Let Qin Zhengyan appreciate it. Qin Zhengyan opened his eyes wide. Breathing became heavy. Long time. The river of autumn could no longer endure. A cool voice carried a hint of embarrassment and anger, and a strong desire to win. How does he compare to your master? Qin Zhengyan was still in a daze. After a long pause, neck and neck. Ah no, my lady is even more beautiful. The river of autumn waved to him. Come here. Qin Zhengyan let out a groan. Dragging his stiff footsteps, he walked up to him. Overlooking from above, it provides a complete view of the regular scenery. Thus, can you resist your master's charm? Sorry, I can't assist with that. The clear voice of my wife echoed in my ears. Qin Zhengyan suddenly realized. My lady, are you dressed this way to help me resist the enchantment? He was instantly moved. My dear wife, for my sake. It really shows deep care and effort. My lady, I will not let you down. Tonight I must block master's charm. After 300 performances, Qin Zhengyan energetically got dressed and got out of bed. On the autumn river bank, my lady, I went. Wait for my good news. The river of autumn wraps itself in a blanket. Watching Qin Zhengyan push the door open and leave, a look of confusion appeared on the upturned face still painted with red clouds. Then it was replaced by coldness. I am just helping him with his cultivation. It is definitely not to hold a grudge against anyone. Yes, that's how it is. Yunlin Mountain. Sui Yuelin. Tonight the wind is gentle and the moon is bright. The bright full moon hangs in the sky, shining on the forest below. Penpen and Dio are a master and apprentice duo. Qin Zhengyan was kicked away by his master, knocked down a big tree, fell to the ground in a disheveled manner, but he quickly got back up. Except for the somewhat damaged clothing, there are no wounds on the body. You don't need to practice the dragon scale technique tomorrow. Just practice resisting charm spells. Qin Zhengyan got up from the ground. I brushed off the dirt from my body. Suddenly He smiled. Master, perhaps tomorrow we won't need to practice resisting enchantments any more. Xia Kinglian coldly poured. These days, you can't withstand even a moment. Dare to speak arrogantly again. Qin Zhengyan walked up to him. Open your arms. If master does not believe, how about we make a bet? Xia Kinglian sneered. Then speak and let me listen. Qin Zhengyan said, if I can block my master's charm. The master then removed the veil. Let me take a look at your true self. Ah. Xia Kinglian looked at him coldly. I am your master. Qin Zhengyan hurriedly explained. The master misunderstood. I just want to remember my master's appearance. Even after parting from my master in the future, I will recognize you when we meet again. Only then can I repay the teacher's kindness. Xia Kinglian flicked her sleeves. I will teach you how to duel. It's just boredom. You are not allowed to repay me. Qin Zhengyan felt somewhat disappointed. Then the master is unwilling to bet with me. Xia Kinglian said softly, Master, I am your master. What qualifications do you have to bet with me? Qin Zhenyan gestured with his hands. I was reckless disciple. Zaya Kinglian sneered. River of Autumn, I'm not as soft-hearted as you. Master, let's get started. King Zhenyan respectfully said. Zaya Kinglian fell silent, skillfully unfastening the red garment. The knight inside wore a rain cloak and a thin skirt, wearing shorts on the lower body, skin as white as jade, suddenly revealed before Qin Zhenyan's eyes. If it were in the past, this time I wasn't fooled. Zaya Kinglian glared at Qin Zhenyan. I don't know why. A surge of annoyance welled up inside. Suddenly she moved her jade-like legs, walked up to Qin Zhenyan. In her surprised gaze, Zaya Kinglian stood with her hands tied, leaning against the table, leaning over her chest. The voice became delicate. Good disciple, is the master beautiful? Qin Zhenyan was momentarily stunned. Soon their gaze became blurry and dazed. He answered in a daze. Beautiful? Is this another trap? Zaya Kinglian let out a light laugh. My charm is not so easily resisted. However, she hasn't had a moment yet. Qin Zhengyan's eyes regained clarity once again. Master, I'm better now. Zaya Kinglian is upright. Anger flickered in his eyes. A single move to surrender. The red garment flew up, kicked back at her. That's all for today. Come back tomorrow. With a flash, the figure vanished. Already vanished. Qin Zhenyan shouted loudly, Master, master, not training today. But the master has already departed. No one responded to her. Qin Zhenyan looked puzzled. Master, what happened? One night deep in the night, Qin Zhenyan returned to Yunlin Mountain once again. Good morning, master. We've arrived. He said coldly. Be careful. I have arrived. After speaking, he took off the red robe. Qin Zhengyan's eyes suddenly widened, a face full of shock. Beneath the master's red robes, unexpectedly wore a garment quite similar to my wife's. The top is lace. Below is black silk. What's worse is, the master is taller than the mistress. Those legs became even longer. Wearing black stockings is naturally more alluring. Qin Zhenyan couldn't resist at all. In an instant it ignited. Zaya Kinglian revealed a smug cold smile on her face. Keije, you ultimately can't compare to me. That night, repeatedly, Qin Zhenyan couldn't hold on for even a moment. In the early morning, returning home, he talked to Kyuje about today's practice. My lady, the master somehow obtained a garment that resembles yours. I really can't resist. What should we do now? Kyuje sneered. I have my own ways. Evening, it was time for the couple to cultivate their practice. Tomorrow, Kyuje didn't let Qin Zhenyan blow out the candle. Blushing, she took off her outer garment. Another tailored outfit is revealed beneath. This set of clothing is white, exposed back with an open front. Next, there is a pair of thin white stockings wrapped around the legs. Kyuje also followed the guidance of a lady from the Rouge Pavilion named Chen. Her long hair was tied into two ponytails. Standing there shyly, pure and delicate, incredibly pitiable. My lady, Qin Zhenyan stared in amazement. However, Kyuje said, Tonight, can you resist the charm? Definitely. 2 hours later, Yunling Mountain. Zaya Kinglian took off her red dress, still revealing that sexy and charming outfit inside. But this time, Qin Zhenyan, however, had clear eyes. Master, I'm ready. Zaya Kinglian coldly poured out. Come back tomorrow. The second night, Zaya Kinglian showcased a set of strapless garments. Qin Zhenyan was once again caught. One day, Kyuji then demonstrated a triangular setup. Later on Yunling Mountain, Qin Zhengyan successfully blocked the enchantment of his master. The next night, Xia Qinglian again. After more than 10 days had passed, Yan'ai, this fellow cultivator, you bought all the styles of alterations from the small shop. We really don't have any new styles, Chen Jia helplessly said to Kyuji. Does it's a tie. Kyuji's voice was cold. It seems somewhat unwilling. This fellow cultivator, what did you say? The Chen family didn't hear clearly. He asked doubtfully. Kyuji did not respond. I turned and walked out of the Rouge Pavilion. Looking at his graceful and enchanting silhouette, the Chen family couldn't help but sigh. Such a beautiful woman, in order to please her husband, such a disregard for one's own dignity. What kind of person is her husband? In the dead of night, Yunlin Mountain, Xia Qinglian put on a red dress, covering a large area that resembles a landscape, coldly said to Qin Zhengyan, "From now on, no one in the world can control your charm anymore." Qin Zhengyan bowed respectfully. "Thanks to my master's personal guidance. Before you move in, I have nothing more to teach you. You may go." Xia Qinglian waved her hand. Qin Zhengyan said firmly, with reluctance in their eyes, "Master, why not come to my house as a guest today? Let me thank the teacher together with my wife." Xia Qinglian said softly, "Your wife probably doesn't care for me. Why must we meet? You should focus on your training. On the day of waiting for the machine, I'll teach you again." After speaking, their figure flashed, has already disappeared. Qin Zhengyan called out "Master" twice. There was no response. "I can't help but feel a bit wistful. Today we part ways. I don't know when we will meet again. By the way, why does the master know that the lady doesn't like her?" After half a stick of incense, Gaiu's Yang, a red cloud flashed by. Xia Qinglian walked into the bedroom. The red garment fell down. The autumn river dons a dress of slumber and food. Took out the ribbon from the pocket. With a gentle shake, 10 or more styles of clothing were taken out. Thinking back on these past 10 days, my own ridiculous actions, Kyuji pursed his lips, reminiscing about the summer. The book must be lifted with a graceful hand. That more than 10 pieces of clothing to be repaired. Drifting in mid-air, a crimson flame ignited, hollowed out, strap, triangle, black silk, bice, various styles of clothing, turned into nothingness in the flames. There wasn't even a trace of ash left. From now on, no one in the world can enchant him any more. 10 days later, Ganyang sect, Ziyu Peak, amidst the swirling of celestial objects. The mountains are clear and the waters are beautiful. The impoverished tower and jade palace. Countless disciples in white robes or purple cloaks come and go. Quite lively. In the midst of the 6 peaks of Ganyang sect, the new disciples of Ziyu Peak are the most numerous. Most of these new disciples came for Yi Ziyu, the only 2 exceptional geniuses with supreme spiritual roots in the world. At 5 years old, he forged weapons. At the age of 8, the foundation is laid. 15 years old, golden elixir. 20-year-old Yuan Ying. Such a speed of cultivation. Su Honglin, second only to the late Jian sect and the late Xia Qinglian. Apart from the talent for cultivation, Yiziyu's appearance was a topic of much admiration. Don Ziyu turns by the Fei Zion Pavilion. Zai Huang, Amo. In the rankings of the 4 great hells of Bei Huang, Yiziyu steadily ranks in the top 10. With her cultivation, this is the descent of Jiushin Xuanyu. Ordinary people long for unattainable existence. In the land of the Eastern repair, Yiziu has many admirers. It also relies on her fame. Ziyu Peak can attract the most new disciples. Since that encounter, other female cultivators no longer hold any color in my eyes. As a few people began to speak excitedly, everyone's eyes sparkled with excitement, imagining the sudden actions of senior sister, an unpleasant demeanor. Brother, a captivating voice echoed behind the group. Brother, you are so bold. How dare you covet the senior sister behind her back? Aren't you afraid of being expelled from Ziyu Peak? Several people turned around, suddenly stopped. A female cultivator dressed in a purple brocade robe appeared, standing in front of them, just different from the other neatly dressed inner disciples. The woman in the purple robe, but the collar is wide open. A snowy mountain range emerges. She was holding a wine gourd in her hand. As they gracefully approached a few people, while tilting his head back to drink, the white wine leaves slipped from the corner of her smoky red lips, following its long neck stem, lying deep within the valley. This scene is too enchanting. Several outer disciples all widened their eyes in shock. His expression was blank. Two people even couldn't help but swallow their saliva. The female cultivator swayed her waist as she walked in front of several people. A pair of enchanting Danfeng eyes gazed at the one who claimed to be the disciple who had met the senior sister blinked. In your eyes. Can I have color? Yes. This. The male disciple instinctively spoke up. Suddenly he pounced down. Cover the groin. Her face turned bright red. You are. One person beside finally reacted. The expression changed dramatically. Looking at this enchanting female cultivator, she was filled with immense fear. Semeng Lan, senior sister. When the female cultivator brother smiles, as the mountain trembles, almost took several souls away. She tilted her head back and took another sip of wine. She brushed her naturally wavy long hair. She fell down delicately. What do you call senior sister? They all call her old. If you like it, let's just call her Lanlin. After finishing, she licked her alluring red lips. Suck the wine leaves into your mouth. This action is full of temptation. Several outer disciples have lost their color. Soul Rain, open your mouth obediently. Then, third senior sister. Senior sister is still waiting for you. What are you doing here? At this moment, a female disciple hurriedly ran over. Simingland turned her head and smiled. Sorry about that. Seeing so many fresh junior disciples, I couldn't help but play for a while. Let's go. He stopped paying attention to the few outer disciples who looked dazed. Following that female disciple, her waist swayed as she walked. Beneath the disheveled purple robe, faintly revealed were the fair, long legs. With such splendor, the male disciples passing by, yet I avoid it like poison. He didn't dare to look at her more than once. Si Minglin was completely unconcerned, walking gracefully, tilting his head back to drink, until that enchanting laughter faded away. The disciples of the cold cicada entered. Only then did I dare to lift my head, looking at those few newcomers who seemed petrified, shaking his head in exclamation, "How dare any one give Sister C. Minglin orders? Truly fearless, aren't you?" It's still the newcomer. The unemployed have no status. The charm skills of senior Sister San are becoming increasingly terrifying. Is there any male cultivator who can withstand her charm? Sighed. I am from the prestigious Genpai of Jinyang, training in such lowly techniques. I heard that senior Sister Siminglin's parents were killed by the royal family in the mortal realm. In childhood, I was further belittled as an official record. It seems rather tragic. SHH, young immortal, if third senior sister hears this, be careful. or your soul might be drawn out and destroyed by her. After half a stick of incense, Siminglan arrived at the top of Ziu Peak, in front of a two-story celestial mansion rich in spiritual aura. This is Yiziu's residence. The female disciple who accompanied her said, "The elder of Wanhu Peak has arrived. The senior sister is discussing matters with him. Senior sister San, please wait a moment." After speaking, he bowed and left. Siminglan sat down heavily on the steps at the door. While drinking, while admiring the beautiful scenery of the pond and garden in front of the celestial abode. "If I could find a handsome little man to spend a wonderful night with. Isn't it beautiful?" "Ah!" She spoke provocatively. Laughter erupted freely. Under the wide open purple robe large areas of skin were exposed. It is also completely unrestrained. After half a stick of incense, the door to Yiziu's room opened. A short and stout middle-aged man couldn't disguise himself. Si Minglan raised the wine gourd towards him. A charming smile. "Have you met Master Zhen?" This short and chubby man looks a bit sleazy. Beneath the greasy forehead are a pair of half-open, half-closed triangular eyes. Seeing Si Minglan, eyes slightly widened, he said with a chuckle, "Minglan, long time no see. Your skills have improved again. If there is intention, come I gaze at the Yufeng. Thank you, Shishu. I will definitely think it over." He bent down. The mountains and rivers become even more majestic. Uncle Zheng's slanted eyes widened even more. He chuckled while stroking his beard. "So good. Shishu is waiting for you." After mentioning that short and stout figure, transformed into a beam of golden light, suddenly flew far away. After he leaves, Si Minglin's charming smile had vanished. He let out a cold snort. "Old pervert." A distant, ethereal voice resonated within the room. "Minglan, come in. Here it comes." Si Minglan chuckled. Swaying her hips, she walked through the door. Yexiu was dressed in a white gown, sitting on a carved wooden chair, graceful and gentle, fairy-like aura. "Senior sister, you miss me." Si Minglan was not afraid at all. The senior sister of the Ziyu Feng, sitting on a chair beside, crossing my legs. One hand frees the jaw. The posture is lazy. Yiziu calmly looked at him. "Minglan, Fang Shaimai's injury has healed. Tomorrow you two will set off." "Oh, got it." "Senior sister, you mentioned last time. Go to Wuxi Town and Yunlin Town. Are you tracking down the remnants of the demon sect?" Si Minglan waved her hand dismissively. He got up and walked outside. After taking 2 steps, he suddenly stopped. He licked his lips and asked, "Senior sister, if we catch them, can you let me enjoy it first?" Tsai Ming-lan still wore a charming smile on her face. "It seems that what was just said, it does not go against the principles of the righteous sect at all." Yiziu frowned slightly. "Bring it back. I want to interrogate personally." Si Minglan shrugged, regrettably said, "My enchantment minister. Are you looking for someone to guard?" "Unfortunately." After a pause, "Zhang Shengmo is coming. Do you still want to cultivate together with him?" Yiziu raised her head. In the eyes of the barrage, suddenly a spiritual light shone. Siminglan waved her hand with a smile. "Master sister, don't be angry. Did I make a mistake?" Yiziu's eyes dimmed. The bullet comments, once as stagnant as dead water, have returned. "Speak calmly. This time going out, you pay close attention to Fang Zhu. Didn't Feng Shaimai also get hurt by the remnants of the demonic sect?" Siminglan was puzzled. Yiziu said, "She is hiding it from me again. The death of Brother Luo and the others. It shouldn't be that simple. All right. Simingland nodded. He stepped out of the room holding a wine gourd, still mumbling to themselves. Unfortunately, Fang Shaimai is a woman. If you're a junior brother, I guarantee she'll speak the truth candidly. After Si Minglan left, Yiziu raised her hand. The door closed automatically. The next moment, Yiziu's face showed a look of pain. Soon, a strange yet charming smile appeared on her beautiful face. Quack, quack, quack. Yiziu, why don't you agree to that old lecher Zheng Shengmo? Let me go and cultivate with him. And it diminished all his cultivation. The true holy demon in Matai's mouth. It was the wind master of Wanjiu Peak just now. He is also one of the 6 elders of Zhenang sect, the wind master of Ziyu Peak. It is Yiziu's master, Sangyu, died in the Red Lotus formation of the Demon Gate on Beihuang Tianlu Mountain. This led to the strength of the Western Moon Summit's general. Yiziu is also severely injured. The previously designated elder position has encountered changes. The other 5 peaks jointly pushed for an early competition within the gates. Reconfirmed the position of the new elder. If Yiziu fails in the grand competition inside the door, Ziyu Peak would no longer have a day to shine. He will also find it difficult to maintain his current position. During these days, several wind masters have visited Ziyu Peak. To help Yiziu Saint participate in the internal competition as leverage, Yiziu must submit to him. Among them, Wan Yufeng, the master of Feng, is regarded as the holy one of the sacred and demonic. He just came. Just put it directly, Yexiu wants to cultivate together with him, help him break through the constraints of the divine realm. He helped Yiziu win the grand competition inside the door. The holy demon card has not been able to break through the Yuanying Peak for nearly 100 years. The innate supreme spiritual root team is considered a great demon by cultivators. So, Zheng Shenmo has long coveted Yiziu. Before Sang Yu was here, he still holds back a bit. Now Sang Yu is dead. Yiziu was also seriously injured. Zheng Shenmo acted without any reservations. Just now here, Zheng Shenmo even wanted to lay hands on Yiziu. Just as Si Minglan arrived, he didn't want to make things too awkward. That's why I didn't take action again. At this moment, the demon fetus was unusually excited. Yiziu, have you forgotten? We still have a copy of the Shuangxian Jiu. This is the top-tier dual cultivation technique. Why not just say that the fat guy is the murderer? Shut up. Yiziu frowned tightly. The strange smile on his face vanished. Coldly said, "In this life I seek only the great way. I will never go down the wrong path. Ah, you let Luo and Fang take so many outer disciples out to their deaths, just to confirm the speculation that Zaya Kinglian is not dead. This is your great path. What distinguishes you from the countless murders committed by Zaya Kinglian? Do you dare to speak nonsense again?" Yiziu stood up, with thin lips parted, spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. Her delicate cheek is half dignified and elegant, strange yet adorable, chilling. Da. Yiziu, you're hurt so badly. Even the basic cultivation cannot be maintained anymore. I wonder how long you can keep pretending. You shut up. In the elegantly fragrant room, the ethereal voice suddenly transformed into something eerie. In a moment regained composure. It was as if 2 people were arguing. A piece of paper slipped from Yiziu's sleeve. It was the ultimatum that Cheng Mo had just given her. 10 days later, looking at the peak of Wanjiu Mountain, Sao Ta area. 5 days later, Yunling Formation, cultivation, 7th layer of kite training, 1,261, 4,000. Skill, 4th rank alchemist, spiritual root. Intermediate fire element spiritual root, 775, 1000. Ice element middle grade spirit root, 787, 1000. The seventh 300 series has concluded. Qin Zhenyan was embracing his wife's soft body from behind. Suddenly, illusory words appeared before me. The corners of her mouth slightly lifted. I finally became a fourth-tier alchemist. What's wrong? The autumn river in her arms sensed her unease. He turned to the side and asked, "Wife, my alchemist level has reached the fourth stage." Qin Zhenyan excitedly said to Qiuzhe, "I can try to refine the ice heart rejuvenation pill myself now." She had already told Qiuzhe about her severe blood poisoning. Thus, Qiuzhe knows how important the ice heart revival pill is to her. A rare smile appeared on Yuan's round, upturned face. "Do you have the recipe for the ice heart rejuvenation pill?" Hearing the words of Qiuzhe, Qin Zhenyan's excitement suddenly cooled down significantly. He smiled wryly and shook his head. "The formulas for the fourth grade spiritual pills are monopolized by the major sects. I certainly don't have any. The river of autumn has fallen silent." Qin Zhenyan smiled and said, "Don't worry, children. I will go to Danfu Tower tomorrow to ask Manager Tong. Danfu Tower has considerable power. Perhaps there is a way." Autumn River inquired, "What if even Danfu Tower is not there?" Qin Zhenyan's heart trembled slightly, but there was still a smile on their face. "Rest assured, my children. It should be fine. Sleep tight." She kissed the forehead of Qiuzhai. He gently. "The river of autumn closes its eyes. Let her wrap her arms around my waist. No more talking." In the warm bedroom. Soon tranquillity was restored. One day, Qin Zhenyan arrived early at Danfu Tower. Perhaps it was too early to rise. Tong Zhangui was counting the money behind the counter. Seeing Qin Zhenyan, she got up and smiled. "Qin, you arrived so early. Could it be that the elixirs have already been refined?" Qin Zhenyan clasped his hands and said, "Those 43rd grade spirit pills. Delivery will be made in a few days." "Tong Zhangui, I came today with something to share. Little things. They say it's a small matter." However, Qin Zhenyan's tone was quite serious. Tong Zhangui's meeting, a laugh, led her into the inner hall. "This is what I asked. What does deist Qin need?" Despite saying, "Then I will thank Manager Tong in advance." Qin Zhenyan first expressed his gratitude. Then he whispered, "I want to buy a Dan Fang." Dan Fan. Tong Zhangui was puzzled. Qin Dai is in Yunlin town, already one of the top alchemists. "What other elixirs do you need?" Qin Zhenyan looked around. The sound has become even lower. "I want the recipe for the ice heart rejuvenation pill." "What?" Tong Zhangui's expression changed. I got up and walked to the door of the room. "Confirm that no one outside is eavesdropping." He just walked back and said to Qin Zhenyan, "Qin Daoliu, the formula for the fourth grade elixir. Only the three major sects possess this. My little Danfu Tower. How could there be such a thing?" Qin Zhenyan said seriously, "Tong Zhangui, we have been working together for so long. To be honest with you, this ice heart rejuvenation pill, extremely important to me. I am willing to pay a high price." Tong Zhangui smiled wryly in helplessness. "Qin Daoliu, it's not that we don't want to make money from these snacks. Do you know of the Tiandan Pavilion? Several years ago, the previous sect master came from Jinyang's sect, stole a fourth grade elixir recipe. The next day, the entire family was annihilated. Tiandan Pavilion, which has been passed down for hundreds of years, nearly copied in flames. The three great sects value skills above all else. It is precisely these alchemical formulas of the fourth rank and above. Don't say we really don't have it. Even if there is, absolutely dare not sell it to the outside. In the evening, Jeuali, a family of three, is having dinner. Today, Qin Zhengyan is somewhat silent. The autumn collaboration meal, he hardly took a few bites. Liu Su tapped his bowl with chopsticks. Son-in-law, do you want this meat? Don't let me eat it. No more. Qin Zhengyan replied absently. Liu Suhyuan cheered. The plate filled with stir-fried pork and chives. Put it in front of yourself. He ate with slurping sounds. Qiuzhe glanced at Qin Zhengyan. No one spoke. The three of them finished their meal, still practicing in the bedroom during the autumn gathering. Qin Zhengyan and Liu Su went to refine alchemy. Tonight, Qin Zhengyan's mind is not very focused. The alchemy efficiency has decreased significantly. It took 2 hours to refine only one pill. In the deep of night, Liu Su has fallen asleep. Qin Zhengyan walked out of the alchemy room. I just feel exhausted all over. Entered the bathroom, boiled hot water and poured it into the bathtub. Took off the clothes. Stepping into the bathtub, resting the back of the head against the edge of the barrel. Close your eyes. The anxiety in my heart has not eased much. Should I? Soft footsteps sound. Qin Zhengyan was just about to open his eyes. A pair of soft little hands rested on his shoulder. Gently neat. Qin Zhengyan turned his head. Yet I see Qiuzhe standing by the bucket, looking down at him. Shuang's eyes were still cold and clear, but that small hand gently squeezing her shoulder felt especially warm, gradually dispelling the gloom in Qin Zhengyan's heart. Qin Zhengyan was about to speak. The river of autumn has already opened. Aside from the three major sects, no one has the fourth grade pill formula. Qin Zhengyan forced a smile. It turns out that my wife had already guessed why I encountered trouble. The river of autumn asks the way. How much longer can you suppress the dandu? Qin Zhengyan let out a sigh. 4 years and 5 months. If the internal poison cannot be eradicated, he can live for at most another 4.5 years. The small hands gently massaging his shoulders. A slight pause. A cold voice spoke again. It's better to focus on cultivation first. After establishing a foundation, we will find a way. Qin Zhengyan nodded slightly. My wife and I think the same way. My current cultivation level is too low, unable to reach a higher level. Perhaps there will be better methods after laying the foundation. After speaking, a smile appeared on her face. My lady, you are already wet. Why not bathe with me? The river of autumn. She glanced at him, turning to leave the bathroom. Qin Zhengyan could only shake his head in resignation. Indeed, the lady's skin is still too thin. But he wasn't too disappointed. The wife became increasingly concerned about him. Just now, I was giving him a massage to relieve stress. It is evident that her feelings for him are gradually deepening. Qin Zhengyan quickly finished washing up. Entering the bedroom, he cheerfully took out a manual. My lady, although I couldn't obtain the Danfang today, but it was not without gains. What do you see this as? Qiuzhe looked at the name of the technique in his hand. Her face suddenly flushed. White Tiger's End? Yes. This was recommended to me by Tang Zhangui. It is said that this cultivation technique not only enhances training efficiency, it can also enhance the relationship between husband and wife. Qin Zhengyan, my lady, let's give it a try tonight. Qin Zhengyan said excitedly, I couldn't buy the formula at Danfu Building during the day, but ended up purchasing the same banned dual cultivation technique. It's not entirely without gains. Dueling techniques, dual cultivation techniques, and pill formulas of the fourth rank or higher. These are forbidden items monopolized by the three major sects. However, compared to the fourth grade pill formula, the three major sects are not so strict about cultivation techniques. Such a powerful force as Danfu building, but it can still be secretly sold to valuable partners. For Qinzhenyan, now let's practice together with my wife. You can earn 7 training points. If you use this white tiger secret, maybe we can earn more cultivation points. Seeing him change from dejection to excitement, Qiuzhi was silent for a moment, finally nodded. My lady, let's practice together. Qin Zhenyan placed the martial arts technique between the two of them. Turn to the first page. Above is a picture. Qin Zhenyan was stunned. Qiuzhi couldn't help but let out a soft exclamation. He suddenly remembered, back when we were in that small house, a soundproofing array on the wall was broken. Hearing the sounds from next door, the sound was not coming from the bed, but by the window. At that time, Qiuzhi was very confused. I don't understand why this sound is by the window. Until just now, when I saw this picture, he finally understood. My lady, I'm sorry. I was too hasty. If you are unwilling. Beside me, I heard Qin Zhenyan's anxious voice. Qiuzhi watched Xing Maobing busily at work. Just this once. This time, points for cultivation have been obtained. 7. Qin Zhenyan did not understand. Why haven't any cultivation points been added? He seems to have understood something. He hurriedly asked Qiuzhi, My lady, this white tiger is absolutely useless to you. Qiuzhi bit her red lips, gently shakes head. After practicing the reverse techniques of the Xuen Bing Lai Huo Palace, it has already become the pinnacle dual cultivation technique in the world. Other low-level techniques were of no use to him. Qin Zhenyan was suddenly stunned. He finally understood. The wife saw that he was feeling down because of the one-sided situation. Tonight, everything in the world goes his way. Even that shameful cultivation technique accompanied him in his training. My lady, it's my fault. I didn't consider your feelings. You can rest assured. I will never force you again. Qin Zhenyan embraced Qiuzhi, looking at his forehead beaded with sweat. Heartbroken, Qiuzhi is currently living. The coldness in the eyes dissipated. A wave of dark clouds and mist rises. The voice was cold. If I am unwilling, no one can force me. Qin Zhenyan was taken aback. Hastily said, My lady, aren't you a bit annoyed by what just happened? Qiuzhi finally realized, my words may seem strong. In truth, it's foolish. He was just slipping out of Qin Zhenyan's embrace. Turned away, in a state of panic. I fell asleep. Qiuzhi felt lingering fear. Quickly close your eyes. The scene from earlier unconsciously flashed in my mind. Conflicted thoughts swirl in my mind. How Chen Fang from next door endured such trials back then. Qiuzhi, what are you thinking about? The most important thing right now is how he helped him eradicate the Dan disease. Actually, apart from the 3 major sects, there is another place where the recipe for the ice heart rejuvenation pill can be found, and that place is only known to him. Just if I take him there, it's probably hard to hide my identity as the Holy Maiden of the Demon Gate now. By that time, I suppose my marital ties with him will also be severed. Cultivation, 7th level of Chi refinement. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Skill, 4th order alchemist. Spirit root, fire element, middle-grade spiritual root. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Ice element, mid-grade spiritual root. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Sorry, but I can't assist with that. Available skill points. Kinjenya lay on the bed, looking at the illusory words before me. Kyuji tried a new method of cultivation tonight. Seems a bit tired. Already asleep. Why hasn't the Dan Master submitted a progress report? Actually, after the practice last night, Qin Zhengyun then realized abnormalities in the skills section. He had some guesses in his heart. Try to add some cultivation points to the Dan Master, but there was no response. In front of me, the attribute panel displays. The skills section still displays. The fourth-tier alchemist showed no signs of change. This also confirmed Qin Zhengyun's speculation. After the skills reach the fourth tier, cannot rely on dual cultivation to improve anymore. This is similar to the restrictions imposed by the three major sects on alchemy recipes. Formulas of third rank and below can be circulated freely. It seems to be constrained by certain rules of this world. After the skill reaches level 4, we need to find other ways to improve. It is self-exercise, improve through proficiency. It's still like the fourth rank Dan formula. To enter the major sect and obtain advanced alchemy manuals, or perhaps seek a high-level alchemist as a mentor. Also, can I learn other skills by myself? For example, like the lady. Dual roles as a spirit master and formation master. Qin Zhengyun was at a loss for a moment. However, there is no rush to improve my alchemy skills right now. First, we must find the recipe for the Ice Heart Rejuvenation Pill. First, lay the foundation. After enhancing strength, let's see if we can reach a higher level. Qin Zhengyun turned to look at the sleeping Kyuji. That round little face is soft and smooth. The cherry lips slightly pouted. Looks exceptionally cute. Qin Zhengyun smiled, gently embracing that soft, rubbery body. Kyuji, he let out a confused grunt. The body shifted slightly, dove into his arms. Looking at the lovely one in my arms, Qin Zhengyun felt a surge of tenderness in his heart. The gaze became even more resolute. I must survive. I want to be with my beloved for 100 lifetimes. One day, Qin Zhengyun woke up. Kyuji is no longer in bed. He put on his clothes and walked out of the bedroom. Kyuji was just coming out of the kitchen with breakfast. Qin Zhengyun stepped forward and asked him softly, "Wife, are you feeling better?" Kyuji blushed slightly and glared at him. "Go call Su for dinner." Qin Zhengyun dared not tease his wife any longer. Respond with a sound. She walked to the alchemy room and knocked on the door. Shouted loudly, "Susu, if you don't get out of bed soon, I'll finish the bayazi. I swear." Qin Zhengyun, your temperament. Leave me too. As soon as the words fell, the door to the alchemy chamber has already been opened. Liu Su dismantled the horizontal and chaotic. He rushed out in disheveled clothing. Seeing Qin Zhengyun smiling at him, only then did I realize I had been tricked. Are you deceiving me with your temperament? Oh dear, I just ate dragon meat in my dream. Eating. The river of autumn softly spoke. Liu Su dared not make any more noise. She ran her fingers through her messy hair. Sitting down carelessly with a big bun in each hand, he started munching away. On the table, Qin Zhengyun and Liu Su did not eat, quarreling fiercely. The river in autumn is unusually quiet. It seems like there is something on your mind. The small bowl of porridge in front of me hasn't been finished, my lady. What's wrong with you? Feeling unwell, Qin Zhengyun asked with concern. Kyuje shook her head. After the two finished eating, they urged them to begin their training. He took his bowl and chopsticks into the kitchen. "Miss, what happened?" Liu Su was puzzled, suddenly staring at Qin Zhengyun. "Did you make the young lady angry again?" Qin Zhengyun also looked puzzled. "No, there isn't. Last night was fine. Cultivation? Yes. My lady? Yes. Miss." The two quickly agreed, quietly entered the alchemy room. 3 hours later, Liu Su stretched lazily. "Oh, I can't do it any more," continued son-in-law. "I'll take a break first." After speaking, he walked out of the alchemy room, gently pushed open the bedroom door, walked inside. In the bedroom, Kyuje sat on the edge of the bed, but did not cultivate as diligently as before. Jing Zhen lowered his head in a daze. "Miss, what's wrong with you?" Except for the time when Hantang Shaiji fell, Liu Su was seeing the Saintess like this for the first time. In Master's Hidden Treasures, she has the recipe she wants. Liu Su Yizhen, raising a hand to cover her small mouth. "So, the sect leader really left behind a legacy." Kyuje nodded. "Not on the Tianlu mountain, in the deepest part of the northern wilderness. The hidden treasures of King Lian Gate on Tianlu mountain. It's just a trap to lure the three major sects. The true legacy of the gatekeeper, only Kyuje knows. The holy master of the King Lian sect is indeed an alchemist. In her legacy, nature has countless high-quality elixirs. This includes the formula for the Bingxin Huichun Dan." Liu Su pondered for a moment. "I immediately understood why Kyuje was worried. Miss, you want to take her to the master's hidden vault to retrieve the alchemical formula. But you are also worried that she will find out your identity. The autumn river gently sweats. My cultivation has not yet recovered. Still can't part with her." Liu Su sighed inwardly. "Saintess, you are probably not just here to restore your abilities. I wouldn't want to part ways with that guy, but I also didn't dare to confront it. After all, when the Saintess spanked her, it's quite heavy-handed." Liu Su squatted in front of the river of autumn, hands off the cheeks. The pitch-black eyes twirled. "Isn't that fine?" In the deep night, after the 13th performance of the Sanbaixi, in the bedroom, exhausted, Qin Zhengyun had already fallen asleep. Even with a body at the 7th level of chi-refinement, he was currently sleeping soundly. Even if the person beside you gets out of bed, her figure transformed from petite to tall. Dressed in red, she leaped through the window. Qin Zhengyun did not notice at all. Xia Kinglian stood on the rooftop. After a moment of contemplation, a shadow flickered. The book disappeared without a trace. Yihang Building. The night outside is dark and heavy. The land of Gulan is still filled with bright lights and lush wine. "Manyu, the guest in room 10 wants Jin Juden. Hurry up and go." Manyu had just delivered drinks and snacks to a private room. Called again by the nanny to go to the storeroom to fetch the golden pill. This elixir is of no benefit to cultivation. It can only provide fleeting pleasure. They sink deeper into depravity. A group of beasts. Meng Yu had just witnessed a scene inside a private room. How the male cultivators with grey spirit stones indulge in reckless behavior. Mumbled in frustration. The book is properly placed. A tall figure, long forgotten, suddenly appeared before me. A red-haired head, a red dress. It is the goddess whom I have it summoned for a long time. "Lady Titi, I thought you had already forgotten me." Menju knelt down, bowing repeatedly. Xia Kinglian gently raised her hand. A surge of spiritual energy entered Meng Yu's body. Let her powerful spirit shine.